Sidney Delourme, Plantation Paris. So you're the co-founder of a farm of 7,000 square meters on the rooftop. Same, you're in the 18th arrondissement.
Yes, absolutely. So. Hello, everyone. Really nice to be here today. So I co-founded Plantation Paris, which is indeed a brand new event space on the roofs of the 18th arrondissement. It's also very unique because it's part of a farm. So I will tell a bit more about it later, but it's right in the middle of a farm. So we try to push for eco-conscious events.
So let's talk about maybe gastronomy, products. You know, that's important for us in Paris, essentially. And so can you maybe present the project, as you were saying? So a huge farm on the rooftop in the heart of Paris. 18 arrondissement is the arrondissement of Montmartre for people. So it's a very touristic arrondissement. That's funny. So.
Absolutely. It's the arrondissement of Montmartre, also one of the places where the Olympic Games will happen in 2024. So yeah, Plantation Paris essentially is a rooftop farm that we invented before COVID for two reasons. The first one was to be able to produce locally the best vegetables, the best salads, the best herbs, the best fruits for Parisians and for the chefs, because we knew that by talking with them, there is still, even in Paris, one of the largest, capital of one of the best countries in the world for agriculture, there is still a lack of really good local products for the chefs. And so for the past years now, we have conceived this project, we have built it ourselves, and now we have launched it 1 year ago. And so now we produce some really, really good vegetables, and they're really good because they are really fresh. And this is why local matters. Local means shorter time between the production and the consumption. So it's fresher, it's better, and it's actually more nutritious, which is the invisible part of it. So we've been producing now vegetables. We work with wine bars in Paris. We work with pizzerias, all the way up to 3 Michelin star restaurants like Cheval Blanc on La Samaritaine. So we try to work with all kinds of local shops and restaurants and even people, because we deliver also baskets with the bike deliveries within Paris. And so we invented this farm just to bring back agriculture at the center of the city, also because a lot of people and a lot of young people today in the cities do not have the opportunity to go in farms. I've always been going to farms since my childhood, and I love going outside the cities to farms, but some people don't have this chance. And so it's an opportunity to bring them to a farm that is accessible with the subway, actually, and for people to witness how we grow vegetables organically.
So it's open also to public? People can come?
So I'm not sure if there are any images right now displayed on the webinar, but so the farm has 3 dimensions to it. The first one is a vegetable garden, so it's an actual vegetable garden in the soil, which is really large, 1,500 square meters. Then we have a greenhouse where we also produce, and this is a very unique greenhouse even in the world because it is heated in the winter by the data center that is located in the basement. So we have in the basement a data center. We use the heat to heat. So we have all year round very carbon-free vegetables. And then right at the middle of the farm, when we spent time there and we saw the skies and the views and the animals and the light, we thought we have to make it a public space. So we created an event space which is right between the greenhouse and the garden. And it's a very, very beautiful and unique space, honestly, because it's just on the roofs of Paris, looking at Montmartre, next to the rails. And it's a place where you just feel right.
Yeah, that's good.
We have animals coming naturally.
That was my question.
Mouse,
which animals?
So we have bees, we have all sorts of insects. We have mouse, which attracted cats, wild cats. And now we even have many birds, and we have a falcon. A falcon that has been coming nearby and is feeding on the mouse as well. So a whole ecosystem is taking shape.
And I know you're very focused on eco-sustainability and all the good gestures and everything. So I know you're delivering by bike to the restaurants and the people you're working with.
All the deliveries are done by bikes. It used to be the most ecological way, and now it's just the most logical way, because with the new way Paris is organized, the bike deliveries are actually the fastest, which is great.
And some other, maybe you were talking about the heating of your event size, some other key points you want maybe to share with us on that?
I think just from an environmental perspective, just having a farm in the cities is really key to making cities more resilient. A farm and just vegetables and vegetation will absorb CO2, will produce quality of air, will attract biodiversity. It will just have so many really good effects that it's also the opportunity when people come to us as an independent event space and they come to us for an event, it's also supporting an independent farm that produces vegetable and that has a positive impact on the city that is measurable.
Of course, and this is very important for us in Paris. And so I think also people are wondering, you know, when you organize an event for a company or you're an agency, so it's always very difficult to be sustainable or to find the right way to be it and to achieve something and to make an impact. So coming to your place and this flagship venue, I would say, how can we just make the difference on that?
So I think it's an addition of many small things. One of the first things that are very important to us is people or events, when they come to the farm, we try to make a link between the farm and the event. We're not just an event space like a parking place where you just rent a place and you use it. We try to bring people and to educate them to come into our garden, to do blind tasting, and maybe we can do something together on that. But we do team buildings where we harvest our weirdest herbs. Sometimes some of them are very spicy or very... Some of them, they even neutralize the tongue. So we make team buildings where people do teams and they try all of different herbs and fruits and vegetables that we have and they try to guess what it is. So it's part also of the education. And then we also handle everything that is catering and drinks. All our catering is vegetarian and can even be vegan. So we try to push for eating only plants and not meat and fish, at least during an event at the farm, to see the whole potential of plant-based food. And we also source our drinks. And maybe here also would be a new addition. But we source all our drinks, for example, all our beers and softs in a 1 kilometer radius from us, and all our wines from organic wineries that we know personally. So we try to do everything in a way that is conscious and mindful of a reasonable consumption and a reasonable event. And the last thing that we really work for, and any event organizer knows how hard it is to go towards zero waste. We haven't done yet one event that is zero waste, but we're working on it because we can reuse any organic food not consumed in the garden in compost. We can try to reuse all of the glassware. We can try to, at least at every event, push a little bit towards that goal of having zero waste for an event.
If you achieve that, we want to have the information and be shared, and we can share it because I think it's important for all of us. So
yes, and
we're
it's also
all
very
looking
important
for that. That's not so easy. So that's one way of doing it. So.
Yes, and it's a collaboration between us and the event organizer. We cannot make sure of everything, so it's a collaboration between all the. And
as I say always, it's also some small steps. So baby steps are doing the right thing at the finally, but you've got to take the steps one by one. Yes. Someone else? Or?
Yes, I think in the idea that we have, again, based on our farm, the idea that we have of an event is it needs to be experiential. I think that's an English word, or immersive. So it's spending a day where you're just not doing a team building. You are actually witnessing something, you are learning something, you are being educated, you are feeling inspired.
Participating?
It's participation, it's very active because everybody has questions about how you produce this, how you produce that. And so it's something very active, very engaging, and I think this is where the future events will need to, the places of the events need to play a role in the actual event.
I couldn't agree more. So.
Really like that question because it's most of what we do is mix our farm with a brand, and this is where we can get really creative. So 2 weeks ago, for example, we hosted an event with the brand Adidas in relation to the Olympic Games because Adidas is sponsoring one of the infrastructures, and so all of the athletes, the French athletes for the Olympic Games, sponsored by Adidas, people like tennisman Tsonga. So we have some rugbymen, a lot of them, they all came to Plantation, and we had an event with Adidas which was mostly about nutrition and how these athletes can benefit from a better nutrition, better products, more nutritious products to actually increase their own performance. So it was a really nice way of talking about Adidas, talking about their athlete, but most importantly, talking about their nutrition and their performance. Another example, because we love food and drinks, so a month ago as well, we hosted the 100 years of Valrhona, which is a famous global chocolate manufacturer. And so there it was all about chocolate everywhere, many chefs, a lot of journalists. And so it was about speaking about the best chocolates in the world and how to prepare them across a whole menu. And so it was really nice as well on that front. And I would have many more examples, but I would be happy to talk about it with the listeners.
Okay, so let's see maybe another girl de Paris, Pierre Merlet, who is a beekeeper. And Sidney, you talked a little about the 18th district, but it's a real changing place, in fact, actually, because we've got some mini projects linked to the Olympics also. So that changes quite the feeling of the district also.
Yes, the whole neighborhood is really one of the largest developments right now in Paris. So the good thing about that is it's like a blank page. When you have a new neighborhood, everything can be invented from scratch. And because we are a farm before being an event space, whether there is an event or not, there is life. There is life happening, there are activities happening, we produce our tomato sauce, our pestos. So there is always life, and the farm that we do is so universal that it allows us to work with local restaurants, with local bars. We have a neighbor that produces mushrooms, for example, Porte de la Chapelle. And so we also take the mushroom substrate and we reuse it. So their waste becomes our nutrient for our plants. And so we try to work in an ecosystem approach with the whole neighborhood and beyond the neighborhood, I will say, with all of Paris, to make this new neighborhood, which really is a laboratory, like a new destination to invent the city of tomorrow, which is more sustainable and more desirable. And maybe this will come back to that, but I would like to say a few words about wellness as well.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know if you want to add anything before closing this roundtable. We're just on time, so...
Well, I think something that I would like to highlight, because we spent quite a few years building that project, is the wellness that comes with it. Just escaping the city, being far from the noise, being far from the lights, the scooters, the traffic, etc. that is in Paris, and being there on the roof allows to really focus on yourself. And I think over the past 2 or 3 years, employers had to force their employees to meet distantly over Visio, spend a lot of time behind the screen, too much time behind the screen. And it's not their fault, but I think it's also their role in the post-COVID world to help people get together, reconnect with each other and reconnect with themselves. And that's why when we host events, we always try also to have a moment for a breathing work at the beginning of the day, or meditation or yoga session, but something that also, besides reconnection with nature, behind everything, it's about reconnecting with yourself, and making sure that there is enough well-being in your daily life. And most of our daily life is at work, with our coworkers, with our employers. So it's important also to contribute to the well-being of the actual people in the company through the events, we believe.